I opened my desk drawer to find it filled with ping-pong balls, each one with a different coworker's face drawn on it. Working in an office can be boring, but not when you have coworkers like mine. Our office prank war started innocently enough. Someone put a whoopee cushion on the boss's chair, but it quickly escalated into a full-blown battle of wits and creativity. One Monday morning, I arrived at my desk to find my drawer stuffed with ping-pong balls. Each ball had a face drawn on it, some smiling, some frowning, and some with ridiculous expressions. A note on top read, "Welcome to the game." I laughed and spent the next hour cleaning up the mess, already plotting my revenge. My target was Jake, the office prankster and the likely culprit. I waited until he went out for lunch and then executed my plan. I covered his entire desk with sticky notes, every surface, every item, even his computer screen. Jake's reaction was priceless. He walked in, took one look at his desk, and burst out laughing. "Well played," he said, tearing off sticky notes to find his mouse. But the pranks didn't stop there. Over the next few weeks, we had a series of increasingly elaborate pranks. There was the time I wrapped Jake's car in plastic wrap, and the time he filled my office with balloons. Each prank was met with laughter and the unspoken agreement that this war was far from over. The pinnacle of our prank war came on April Fool's Day. I arrived at the office to find everything on my desk glued down. My keyboard, mouse, coffee mug, even my pen, everything was stuck. Jake was grinning like a Cheshire cat from his desk. I decided to end the prank war with a bang. I enlisted the help of the entire office to pull off the ultimate prank. We moved Jake's desk, chair, and all his belongings to the elevator. When he arrived, he found his office waiting for him in the lift. Jake's laughter echoed through the building as he took in the sight. "All right, you win," he said, shaking my hand. "But watch your back. This isn't over." Working in an office can be tedious, but with friends like mine, it was anything but boring. The prank war became a legend, and we still laugh about it to this day. It started as a joke, but our office chair races turned into a competitive league with its own set of rules and champions. It all began one slow Friday afternoon at the office. Someone, I think it was Dave from accounting, suggested a chair race to lighten the mood. Before we knew it, we had cleared a makeshift track in the hallway, complete with start and finish lines marked by sticky notes. The first race was hilarious. We were all in tears from laughing so hard. But then, something unexpected happened. We got competitive. By the following week, the chair races had become a regular thing, with more employees joining in and forming teams. We even developed official rules. Each race was timed, and participants had to navigate a series of obstacles, including sharp turns and a slalom course made of office plants. We kept a leaderboard on the break room wall, tracking wins and losses. As the races gained popularity, we started holding weekly tournaments. The finals were a big event, with everyone gathering to watch and cheer. People got creative with their chairs, adding custom wheels, cushions, and even tiny flags. One day, our boss walked in during a particularly intense race. We all froze, expecting a reprimand. Instead, she laughed and asked, "When's the next race? I want in." That was the moment our little office game became an all-company affair. We began streaming the races online for remote colleagues to watch and participate. Our once simple pastime turned into a full-fledged league, complete with team jerseys and an annual championship trophy. The best part? It brought us closer as a team. The chair races became a symbol of our camaraderie and creativity. It was a reminder that no matter how stressful work got, we could always find joy in the simplest things. Now, every Friday at 3 p.m., the office transforms into a racetrack, and the sound of rolling chairs and laughter fills the air. It's a tradition that has made our workplace not just bearable, but genuinely fun. My lunch kept disappearing from the office fridge, and the culprit turned out to be the last person I expected. It started innocently enough. Every day for a week, my lunch vanished from the office fridge. At first, I thought I was just misplacing it or forgetting to bring it. But after the fourth day, I knew someone was stealing it. Determined to catch the thief, I decided to set a trap. I made a particularly delicious-looking sandwich and hid a tiny wireless camera inside the fridge. The next day, I watched the footage on my lunch break. To my surprise, the culprit was none other than our seemingly sweet office receptionist, Pam. She had always been so nice to everyone, always smiling and bringing in baked goods. I couldn't believe she was the one behind the lunchtime larceny. I confronted Pam after work, trying to keep my cool. "Hey, Pam, I noticed my lunches have been disappearing. Any idea who might be taking them?" Pam turned bright red and stammered, "Oh, I thought they were for everyone. I didn't mean to take your lunch specifically." It turned out, Pam had been bringing in treats to share and assumed the lunches in the fridge were communal as well. We laughed it off, and she apologized profusely. From then on, I labeled my lunches clearly, and Pam started bringing in extra treats just for me. The whole situation brought us closer together, and now, every time I see a note on the fridge that says, "Help yourself," I can't help but chuckle. The listing said quaint and cozy, but they failed to mention the ghost in the attic. My friends and I booked an Airbnb for a weekend getaway. The pictures looked great. An old, charming house in the countryside, perfect for a relaxing escape. But when we arrived, we realized there was something the listing hadn't mentioned. The first night was uneventful. We cooked dinner, played some board games, and settled in. But around midnight, we started hearing strange noises coming from the attic. At first, it sounded like footsteps, but then there was a soft, eerie humming. We laughed it off, thinking it was just the house settling or maybe a raccoon. But the noises continued the next night. Determined to figure out what was going on, we grabbed a flashlight and cautiously made our way up to the attic. As we opened the creaky door, the humming grew louder. The attic was filled with old furniture, dusty boxes, and cobwebs. In the corner, we saw a rocking chair moving slowly back and forth, even though there was no draft. "Okay, this is officially creepy," my friend Sarah whispered. We approached the chair, and as we got closer, we saw an old diary on the floor. Curious, I picked it up and started reading. It belonged to a woman named Emily, who had lived in the house decades ago. Her last entry was chilling. "I don't know who else to tell. I keep hearing the humming. It's like she's trying to reach me from the other side." Suddenly, the rocking chair stopped. The attic fell silent, and we all felt a cold breeze. We bolted downstairs, too scared to stay another second. That night, we slept with the lights on and left the house as soon as the sun rose. The next day, we contacted the Airbnb host, who admitted that previous guests had also mentioned strange occurrences. They apologized and offered us a refund. We accepted and found a new place to stay, but the experience stayed with us. Now, whenever we book an Airbnb, we always check the reviews for any mention of ghosts. And we've got a spooky story to tell around the campfire. The Uber app showed my driver's name as Mystery, and I thought it was a glitch until he started predicting my future. I was running late for a meeting and ordered an Uber. When the app showed my driver's name as Mystery, I chuckled, assuming it was a glitch. The car pulled up and the driver, a man in his 60s with a calm demeanor, greeted me with a smile. As we started the ride, he began chatting. "So, you have a big presentation today?" I was taken aback. I hadn't mentioned anything about my meeting. Yes. How did you know?" He just smiled and said, "I have a knack for knowing things." I shrugged it off as a lucky guess and continued checking my notes. Then he started predicting specific details about my life. "You just moved to a new apartment, didn't you? And your sister is visiting next week." My jaw dropped. He was right about both. "How do you know all this?" I asked, half-jokingly checking the car for hidden cameras. He chuckled. "Let's just say I've been around long enough to pick up on these things." The ride continued with him making more eerily accurate predictions. You're going to ace your presentation today, but remember to check your left pocket before you go in. By the time we arrived at my destination, I was thoroughly spooked. I thanked him, and as I stepped out, he added, "Don't forget your keys tomorrow. They're under the couch." I walked into the meeting, distracted by the bizarre encounter. Just before starting, I remembered his advice and checked my left pocket. My lucky pen was there. I smiled, feeling a bit more confident. The presentation went smoothly, just as he predicted. The next day, curious and skeptical, I searched for my keys. Sure enough, they were under the couch. To this day, I have no explanation for how that driver knew so much about me. Whenever I tell the story, people think I'm making it up. But I know the truth. Sometimes, life is stranger than fiction.